So along with this comes, as I said, the good comes with the bad. And they've been able to smuggle in arms, they've been able to smuggle in narcotics, and a huge number of other illegal items into it. It became an insurrection, armed insurrection. Okay. And it took all our efforts to bring them back to peace, including all-out war, to finally a peace treaty, 1986 in Shillong. This problem creates a security problem. And therefore, there is always trouble in the Northeast, and therefore, what Northeast is more known for, unlike the fact that it should be known for its beauty, it should be known for its culture, it should be known for so many other wonderful things. It is known only for security problems. Right. Chauvinist groups were fighting against what they called the illegal accession of the Manipur Empire or Manipur Kingdom to the Republic of India.
At present, there are multiple conflicts happening around the world. And I see we try our best to be informed about the ongoings. But truth be told, there are some complex conflicts that persist within India as well. One such issue is the territorial and historical conflict in the northeastern part of India. To understand that, I bring to you Lieutenant General Shokin Chauhan, who holds a robust background in counterterrorism, crisis management, and intelligence analysis, all packed with his experience in Northeast. I aim to provide you with the historical, cultural, and the strategic aspect that shapes the conflict. Stay tuned for my conversation with Lieutenant General Shokin Chauhan. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
So to begin with, I would love to learn from you, why is Northeast important for India?
Northeast is firstly, of course, it's not a single state. It comprises of 8 states of India, 7 sisters and 1 brother. So let's first start from the northernmost point, the state of Arunachal Pradesh, which borders Tibet, and after its annexation by China, is actually a de facto border of China. Then you come southward from Arunachal Pradesh and you come to the state of Nagaland. Nagaland is a state which has 16 major tribes.
Right.
And once again borders Myanmar, borders Burma. And what is important for us to understand is that in Myanmar and Nagaland, tribes share similar cultures. And with the de facto border of Myanmar often runs through villages themselves.
Right.
So villagers share cultural heritages. They've been trading for years together. And they have common bloodlines. That's very important for us to know before we start thinking in terms of making a fence between Burma and or Myanmar and India, is that there are common tribal communities living on both sides of the border, right, who have not been divided ever, and today don't want to be divided either. South of Nagaland comes Manipur, which is of course facing a major crisis today, these days. But once again, bordering Manipur is the Chin state, which is actually the Chinzo tribe, which are the Kukis.
Right.
So they have similar bloodlines once again. The Kukis and the Chin states are similar people. And you come southward of Manipur, you come to the state of Mizoram. Mizo and Chinzo belong to the same tribe. So the Mizoram state has the same community as the Chin state. So this is something which is important for all of us to know, that the Kukis are intrinsic to our land. They are in Mizoram, they are in Manipur, they are in parts of Assam, and also in the Chin state opposite, in Myanmar. So it's important that how these communities have formed a part of our nation. Then you come inward, you have the large state of Assam. All these 7 states actually were post-independence a part of Assam. And pre-independence belonged to the larger British Empire.
Okay.
And the British Empire, which was ruled from Calcutta, actually spread across. And after the defeat of Burma in the first, second and third Anglo-Burmese wars, the British Empire from Calcutta ruled over the complete country of Burma also. And there was no single boundary. So during those days, the 300, 200 odd years, there were common boundaries, people migrated up and down, and communities shifted as per the British requirement of maybe labor for their for various construction of roads, etc., or for their tea gardens. So the situation is that in a place like the Northeast, you have communities which have come over the last 1,000 to 2,000 years into what is now our Northeast. So the states that border Burma are, as I said, Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram. Then you have the state of Meghalaya, where the Khasis are the dominant tribe. And south of Meghalaya, you have the state of Tripura, which both Meghalaya and Tripura border Burma, where once again are extremely important adjuncts to India's Act East policy. They form the land bridge between India and Southeast Asia.
Right.
And if you take your mind back to the Second World War, the Japanese entered India from Burma. And Burma remains a flashpoint from us from independence. But on its own, Burma and today Myanmar is not a hostile country. So the borders are not hostile, they merely are alive because of the insurgents on both sides of the divide.
So what would you say is the reason of constant insurgency in the parts of Northeast? Because there's something or the other constantly happening.
Yeah. The issue was that when you asked me what was important in the Northeast, firstly, it's a land bridge. It's a strategic land bridge. Secondly, India's trade, which today goes by the sea, could go through the Northeast, go through Burma, go down to Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and move southward like that. It becomes a very important bridge for India.
Right.
Because as you're aware that in the 2nd century, the Buddhism spread from India across to Myanmar or Burma, moved into Laos, Cambodia, which are now all Buddhist countries. So while we talk of the ASEAN and we talk of engaging all these countries all over India's periphery, the most important part is that we were the ones who shared the religion of Buddhism with them. And it would give India a great fillip if we were connected to them through a land bridge. But connecting also means connecting the bad. The countries of Laos, Cambodia, and Western Burma are also riddled with corruption. They themselves are going through a huge amount of insurgencies. And of course, it is the golden triangle for the narcotics. So if you're connected, that means that there could be a large flow of narcotics into India, which is at present a major problem in the Northeast. So you have open borders, you have police borders, the Assam Rifles looked up the border, but people still move through because of two reasons: that between India and Burma, you have what is known as a 16-mile free move regime. And the free move regime means that headloads can be carried for trade between the communities, and there are no visa requirement. So along with this comes, as I said, the good comes with the bad. And they've been able to smuggle in arms, they've been able to smuggle in narcotics and a huge number of other illegal items into India. Now, why is it permanently in a problem? Let's talk of the Naga insurgency. Then we can spread ourselves to the rest of the insurgencies. Is that 1929, you should have to actually, everything has a background. Right? The Nagas, as I showed you the map of Burma, the Burmese Empire never had the tribes of Nagaland under them. So when independence came, it was only the British who had actually been able to dominate the tribes of Nagaland. So in 1929, the Naga tribes went to them and said that when you leave us, let it be a standstill agreement between us. Let us remain independent. We have never belonged to anybody. This land is ours, but this land did not belong to any part of India before. So leave us alone out of this. But somehow the situation, by the time independence came, there was no choice of remaining independent. You had to belong to one of the two dominions. And they were convinced through the Haidari Commission. Mr. Haidari was the governor of Assam, pre and post independence, who convinced them to, on the permission of Jawaharlal Nehru, that they could consider being with India for 10 years, after which they could decide whether they wanted to be a part of our country or not. One thing led to the other. The choice after 10 years was withdrawn. And therefore started the insurgency in 1956, an armed insurrection by the tribes of Nagaland for complete independence. And from then till today, we continue to fight. There are Naga tribes in Manipur, so they also became involved in the same thing. There are Naga tribes in Arunachal, they became involved. There were the Mizo tribes. The Mizos, as I said, are a community of the Chinzo tribe, which are the Kukis. We call them Kukis. In Burma or Myanmar, they're called Chinzo tribes. The Chins have also raised their insurrection against the Burmese army or the Tatmadaw. So they're fighting the Burmese army in Burma or the Myanmar army in Myanmar. And they're also involved in a similar problem with the People's Liberation Army, which is the Meitei group. But we go down to Mizoram. Why did Mizoram flare up? Is that in 1958, there was, every 10 years, Mizoram used to go through this, where the crops would fail because the rats would eat up their bamboo crops, and they knew that the next 10 years was ending in 1958. So they told the government of Assam, of which they were a part. They were at that time called the Lushai Hills. So they created what was known as the Mizo National Famine Front to fight the famine that would come along with the failing of the crops. But Assam didn't take them seriously. And this famine front converted to the Mizo National Front, which became an insurrection, armed insurrection.
Okay.
And it took all our efforts to bring them back to peace, including all-out war, to finally a peace treaty, 1986 in Shillong, where Mizoram has been a very peaceful state after that. Because political power was changed, and the tribe of firstly the state was created, and then the tribe, Chin tribe, or the Mizo tribe, got political power, where Mr. Lalding became the chief minister. And after that, Mr. Lalthan Haula became the chief minister. And now we have another chief minister, but this movement has been within the Mizo tribe itself. So it is peaceful, it's very disciplined, and everything is there. So these are the issues that we've not been able to sort out, the issues dealing with the Naga tribes, because they are still looking for independence. We've not been able to sort out the problems between the tribes, which is the problem between the Maitis and the Kukis now. And this problem creates a security problem. And therefore, there is always trouble in the Northeast, and therefore, what Northeast is more known for, unlike the fact that it should be known for its beauty, it should be known for its culture, it should be known for so many other wonderful things. It is known only for security problems.
Right.
This is the issue there.
So you stayed there for a long time as well. Been around.
Yes, I've been a young officer there. I lived amongst the Tangkhul people in Ukhrul as a post commander. Subsequently, I was the Jivan operations there. I was an instructor in the CIGW office. But and of course, I was the DG Assam.
Right.
And then later, post-retirement, I was appointed as the chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group located in Kohima, where I was able to bring the NSC and Khaplang group, which had broken the ceasefire in 2015, into signing a peace treaty with us.
So how are the sentiments of people there at present? Are they happy with the Indian governance? Would you say?
I would say that India's economic growth has changed a lot of perceptions. We are today the fastest growing economy, the best growing economy amongst all our neighbors. And the tribes of the Northeast are realistic people. They now no longer think that they can be independent. They are not willing to go to Myanmar. India's economic miracle, they want to be a part of India's economic climb and economic change. They have started thinking like as parts of us. But we still have to close the peace treaty. We still have to bring them in. We still have to accept the fact that they have a different culture and that culture needs to be remembered. So these are the issues, Shivam, that we need to look at when we are looking at anything in the Northeast in the long run.
Would you say there is a similarity of our India's, I wouldn't say India's relationship, but how we handle the Northeast to how we handle Kashmir? Do you see any similarities there?
Shivam, there's no connection. There's absolutely no connect between what happens in Kashmir and what happens in Northeast. Northeast is, like I said, a conglomeration of, it's 8% of India's territory, land mass. It's only 2.5% or 3% of our population. And of this population, 65% of the Northeast population is in Assam. And the balance is in the other 7 states. It's sparsely populated. They have, each tribe has its own culture which they're determined to remember and protect. And that is an issue of identity, issue of land, and issue of politics. These are the 3 things that create a problem in the Northeast, which we have to sort out.
So since May of this year, there's been an issue in Manipur as well. Put some light on it as well for me as well, please.
Firstly, Manipur is a strange case. It's not endemic to the problems in the rest of the Northeast. If you look at the demography of Manipur, the center of Manipur is a valley which is 10 kilometers square. That means 10 by 10, right? 100 kilometers of valley, maybe a little more, 12. Where the mighty people stay. And the mighties were and are the original inheritors of the kingdom of Manipur. And they had taken on the Hindu religion maybe 1,000 years ago. And they're Vaishnavites, believers of Lord Krishna. And they have the most beautiful dances, the most beautiful culture, wonderful people. But amongst themselves also, there are mighty chauvinist groups which have been fighting the government of India or the Indian army for the last 60 years. The People's Liberation Army, the United National Liberation Front, the UNLF, and a large number of other pre-Pak, etc., were all mighty chauvinist groups who were fighting against what they called the illegal accession of the Manipur Empire or Manipur Kingdom to the Republic of India. So that's one problem. The mighties own this place. I mean, have always owned the kingdom because they are the inheritors of the kingdom. But in the land of Manipur, Manipur also consists of Nagas. It also consists of Kukis. It also consists of Panghal Manipuris that are Muslim Manipur. 8% of the population are Muslim Manipur. And a large number of smaller tribes. Tribal laws in our country allow the tribal sovereignty or the tribal ownership of the lands, which when independence came, Manipur, the mighties were not given scheduled tribe status. So they are not the owners of the land. They have to buy this land. They stay in the valley of Manipur, but do not have the same privileges as the other scheduled tribes who own the land they belong to. You see, Nagaland and all these places, Shiva, have a village ownership of the land.
Right.
They're not so in the Imphal Valley. And all problems in Northeast start from, like I said, identity, land, and politics. The Kuki community has done well over the last 20, 30 years. Scheduled tribe status helped them get into various parts, various central government and state government appointments. They, like I said, they've done well economically. A large number of them have shifted to Imphal, because Imphal also has all the hospitals, it has all the colleges, it has the airport, and now a train station has to come to Imphal. So the Kuki community, so the Maitis found themselves actually being pushed, felt that they were being pushed. The Kukis are very small in number in Imphal. Political power, Shivam, the creation of a sense of insecurity by political leaders has, to my mind, created this issue in the Maiti and Kuki communities. This is the problem when you're dealing with people, that there's a political power which is by the Maitis, the land is by the people who stay in them, and tribal identities are different. Maybe then identities are different, thought processes are different, their their future they perceive differently. So these are the issues.
So where are we currently placed in the situation?
There's now what looks to be a permanent divide between the people of the Maiti community and the Kuki community. This is not good for Manipur, because the Kuki can, in battle between the Kukis and Maitis, can continue to any length of time, indeterminately.
Yeah.
Reason is that there will be always enough Kukis in Myanmar who will be able to come in and help the Kukis. The Maitis are never going to give up this political power. So you'll always have a situation of problem like this, and for the next 4 or 5 generations, they're not going to forget the carnage that their parents or their grandparents or they themselves have gone through. So it takes time. If the black community in South Africa and the white community in South Africa could get together and continue with the country of South Africa through a peace and reconciliation committee, I think the Kukis and Maitis can also get together. But they need a Mandela-like leader, which maybe at the present moment they don't have.
What can we do to minimize these situations that they come in? What, according to you, should be the way forward?
The way forward should be to help them find a common ground. The present moment, Shivam, you don't have any youth leaders wanting to come together. The future is decided by the young. So you guys, it is your age group that should be getting together from both communities and saying, we don't want to fight anymore, because this is going to affect the next 4 generations of our tribes. Education, health, community living, everything stems from the youth. So it has to be the youth who come together. It has to be the political leadership who tells them that, look, forgive and forget and come back. And we will remove all these unnecessary barriers that we put up to exist together. But at the moment, I don't find it happening.
You don't see that happening?
I don't see it. Because there's no larger leadership coming up.
So you said the main issue of
any problem in the Northeast stems from identity, land, and politics.
Do you have any, some words on how we could learn to live together instead? Because we see a lot of situations like what happens in Northeast, in the rest of the world as well. There's
basically, Shivam, like I said, the youth has to drive the peace. The youth has to say, we're not going to get manipulated by this issue of insecurity. The youth has to decide that they don't want to lose out with their future. Because permanent war means there is no education, no business, and the lifestyle is totally, it'll always be war. So there'll always be a problem. Nothing will come up. Their children will never get education, never go further. So the youth has to decide that we don't want to do that.
Because the mindset of revenge remains, right? The mindset of...
Yes, that's it there. It'll never let them move. The Naga tribes, on the other hand, they've all got together. There is Nagaland is peaceful. Mizoram is peaceful. Meghalaya is peaceful. Arunachal is peaceful. Manipur is not. And Manipur is a critical state because it's a center. And it is through Manipur that the road goes from Imphal to Burma. The Imphal More road is through Manipur. It's the main road that connects India to Myanmar. And if that goes, then it will be very difficult for anything to happen. Any kind of trade that we're talking about was dependent upon it.
How could the Indian government handle the situation better?
By not allowing the political parties to indulge in this kind of, rhetoric, this kind of insecurity, and by providing enough security there so that the people can come back. A large number of people have their houses burned. You have to rehabilitate them, or both communities. It's time. It's nothing that happens in a hurry. So we should never be in a hurry. But it has to be the youth leadership.
This conversation was fresh for me as well, because someone who is not well versed with the situation in Northeast, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure the audience has taken a lot of takeaways as well. Before I go, there are two personal questions that I ask my guests every time I interact with them. Number one is, you read a lot, so do you have any book that you wish you would have read earlier in life?
There's a fabulous book by Robert Kaplan called The Revenge of Geography. I wish I had learned more about geography in school and in the NDA, because geography plays the most important part in our lives. And I'm a history buff.
Right.
To me, history read means you understand what might happen in the future. If we don't understand history, we are condemned to repeat it.
Beautifully.
So these are the two issues I feel I wish I had learned more when I was younger, but I rectified it by reading them through my service. And I have always thought that this is probably the most important thing when you're discussing military relations or international relations or problems between states.
Right.
Whether it is Russia and Ukraine, or whether it is the Kogi community and the Maiti community, or whether it's the Israelis and the Palestinians. It's history and geography and culture that determines everything.
Absolutely. So you rightly said that if we won't learn from the history, we would repeat.
Condemned to repeat it.
Yes, we can. Second person question is, what is one advice you would give to your younger self?
The advice I would give my younger self is learn, because learning is a process which will never stop. And at 62, as you know, as I was telling you, I did my PhD, given me a great amount of idea about research, about knowledge, and the fact that 90%, 99% of us talk from knowledge from the net, from Wikipedia,
Right.
which itself is not is not the go-to encyclopedia that we need to go to. So, knowledge comes through research and study, and there are too many people who don't have knowledge at all. So when they talk and they create insecurities between us, I would urge many of my friends to first read about it, whether this insecurity should be there or shouldn't be there, because insecurity is what causes us to act, what causes us to hate.
Absolutely.
So these are issues which Shivam, I wish my country would learn.
Beautiful, sir. This really insightful conversation with you on the Northeast issue. I really appreciate your time and support in this call, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, keep reimagining yourself and know that the power of change lies within you.